Oh, hey, there it is. Back at it again. Here we are. New location. We're up here at Studio Stubbs. How do you like that?
Studio DoBro.
Yeah, DoBro. Oh yeah, I forgot about my name. I still need to give you a name. I was thinking about that a little bit when I was cleaning up here.
What is up, everybody?
How's it going? And we're over here on this wonderful weather on a Sunday afternoon to record episode 4 of the Macaroni Rascals Jersey Shore podcast. Beautiful day outside. It has been cold as shit for the past couple of days.
Cold as Fuquay,
yeah,
it were.
It is. It was insane, the weather here in Texas. One day it's hot, the next day it's like 27 degrees, the next day it's
tornadoes,
all kinds of stuff. You just never know what to pack in the car. So I've got like 4 jackets in my car, all for different kinds of weather.
You have to be prepared for all situations.
It's the way that the cookie crumbles here in Texas. We're getting dangerously close to the anniversary of Snowpocalypse.
Yes.
That happened in February of last year.
Yeah.
I wonder if we're going to get snow down here again.
I hope not. But the thing is it's not snow here. It's just ice and sleet.
It was snow last year. It was honest to God snow last year.
Okay.
All right. Maybe not up there in Dallas, but around here it was actual snow. And everyone got trapped inside, and all of the power was out, and it was fun for like the first 12 hours.
Until we realized what was actually happening.
Yeah.
A bad thing.
I remember, because Timmy was living here. Timmy is my brother, our brother.
Power grids were down.
Yeah, we were
shortages.
We were here at the loft, and we had to keep timing because we had the rolling blackouts. So we had to keep on timing when we were eating, so power would be out, and we weren't able to eat for like hours. So as soon as the power would go on, I'd hear Timmy in the back room go, let's go, turn the microwave. And you just had to like prepare a whole bunch of food. It was really funny.
I remember that. Also, to be able to heat water, you couldn't turn the water on because pipes were freezing, and down here in Texas, our infrastructure here is not set up to handle that kind of weather. So pipes are bursting everywhere, so you could only like turn on your water for so long, and you only had so much power to heat said water. So it was whoa.
We're getting close.
Like Oregon Trail stuff.
Oregon, yeah, for real. Absolutely.
Do you remember that? Is that a throwback for you?
I loved Oregon Trail.
Man, I loved that game.
I used to go to the Sims library to play some Oregon Trail, and I always had to start over because it was a public computer.
Oh, yeah.
So I could never pick up like where I left off.
Right.
Because we didn't have... I think we had a computer growing up, but...
Well, we did, but I don't think we had that game. You see, I would play at school. They had it on the school computers.
What school was that?
That would have been elementary. No,
TC?
I think I was at Wildman.
Old
If
school.
you're a Hatchtown person, you'll know these names that we're throwing out.
TC Wildman. I sent you guys a Facebook post the other day with some pictures from the old Walmart from like back in the day. Yeah. That was a real throwback.
Crazy.
While we're on the subject of throwbacks.
Nice.
Speaking of throwing back, let's throw it back to episode 4 of the Jersey Shore podcast. Air date, when did this come out?
Air date is December 17th, 2009. And before we dive in a little too deep on this, I just wanted to remind our listeners, you can watch along with us if you want. You don't have to. The way that we're setting these episodes up is that we're pretty much doing the full recap in our episodes and in our reviews of this show, so you don't have to watch it. You don't have to be an avid fan of the show or anything like that. We hope that you will kind of get into the show with us, because I think it's fun if you can watch the show before you come and listen, and or vice versa, listen to us and then watch the episode. However you want to do it, it's up to you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and on that note, you can watch along with us. I believe all 6 seasons are streaming on Hulu, Apple TV. I think you can still get it on MTV.com. If you're a Prime member, you can get it on Prime, Amazon Prime, and Paramount Plus as well. So watch along with us. It's a fun ride.
It is a fun ride. There are way too many streaming platforms now. Everyone's got a streaming platform. I guess we have a streaming platform now.
Yeah, we do.
That's really funny.
That's what this is.
It's the name of the game.
We're in it.
Episode 4 of Jersey Shore. What's this one titled, sis?
Episode 4 is called Fade to Black. After a night in the clubs, Polly and Mike have to juggle multiple groups of girls. Meanwhile, mayhem breaks out when a fight erupts at a bar and one of the housemates goes down.
This is, I think, one of those iconic Jersey Shore episodes of a moment that's just like everyone kind of knows about what happens and goes down in this episode. I was also thinking as I was watching the episode, this is the first one where it's starting to get into the formula of Jersey Shore, like what you can kind of expect from Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
The gang's all coming together. They all kind of are knowing each other, and the kind of inner workings of that little friendship group starts to really kind of branch off into what it kind of becomes later on.
Yeah, agreed. And buckle up, people, because this episode is a heavy one in terms of the knockouts, shall we say.
Yeah, this is a big one. And this one, because I watched episode 4 and episode 5 back to back, this episode makes episode 5 seem boring almost.
I have to agree with that observation.
Yeah.
The next one doesn't seem as exciting
as
this one.
Which is kind of nice. A nice little kind of
You need a break. You need a break.
Cleanser.
You can't get too much of this all at once.
Right.
You have to have that palate cleanser.
Yeah. When you put it like that, it does kind of make sense why they would do that, because peaks and valleys, right? Peaks and valleys. So we're in a peak at this moment. And as I started the first episode, I had this thought that I jotted down here in my notes. If vapes were people, they would be the cast of season 1 of Jersey Shore. The only thing missing from this show is vaping. If vaping had been around in 2009...
You know what it was is cigarettes, because pretty much all of them, I don't think there's one of them that doesn't smoke cigarettes.
True. Yeah.
I'm trying to think, and I can't think of...
Maybe, if I had to guess, I would say Vinny doesn't smoke, but I can't think...
And I'm sure like after a night of drinking, I feel like I probably have seen him with a cigarette in his hand at some point, you know?
Drink-induced cigarette smoking is definitely a real thing.
Yeah, for sure. I've never partaken?
Partook?
Partaken.
I have and can vouch.
Gross.
I did this stupid experiment in college because I went to a Christian college, so I didn't have very many like vices that I was like, quote, quote, allowed to do. So I did this little experiment. I wanted to see how quick it would take to get addicted to cigarettes. Turns out pretty quick.
Steven David. The mom in me is shocked right now.
That's really funny. Yeah, pretty quick. Pretty quick before you start getting the little hankerings during the day.
Stevie. Oh my god.
Yeah, for sure. Me and some other people who will remain nameless. Definitely got good times though.
I'm gonna get those names for you after the show.
Good time. Yeah, I'll tell you about it. Oh well, it was and just the normal bunch.
I should have suspected.
Yeah, you know.
Usual suspects.
The usual bunch. Oh yeah, and think about that. Okay, all right.
Well done.
Okay, let's circle back here to the episode.
We started this episode 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is just a little bit of advance. We're like 10 minutes into this thing. Maybe we'll cut this down. I don't know. Okay, so we're starting off at the top of the episode.
So we're on the night of. We left off the previous night. That's the episode kind of cut off in the middle of this night that they're out, and we're picking back up here at this night out. So Ron is rampaging home like the Hulk on a mission. He's like popping out of his shirt. He actually does come out of his shirt because he's so like heated over this argument that's happened at the bar. Comes in the house, slams the door, no shirt on.
And the argument is a misunderstanding between Sammy and Ron, whereas Sammy's talking to this cop guy and Ronnie's dancing with some other girl, and wires are getting crossed because she thinks Ron leaves. JWoww, a couple of minutes later, follows him out to go check up on him. Sammy hears that JWoww left with Ronnie, so now there's all this he said, she said business going on.
Huge miscommunication going on. A lot of jealousy.
And so we're picking up at the house in the kind of one of the very first like actual fights about this specific situation, which constantly comes up.
Yeah, it will reoccur often
in the Ronnie and Sam relationship. So we get the first kind of
like glimpse into what is to come in this toxic relationship.
Totally. And if you ask me, Sammy is not handling the situation. Well, none of them are handling the situation right, but Sammy comes in so hot with all these accusations. For some reason, Ron is in a towel. I don't know when that happened, but it didn't help.
Mind you, the opening of this episode too is cutting quickly back and forth from what Ron and Jenny are doing at the house back over to the club where Sam is left behind because she doesn't know that Ron has left at this point, or she knows and she hasn't gone after him yet. Mm-hmm. And Sam and Vinny are chatting at the club where she admits to having given her phone number to the cop, you know, who she claims is just a friend. And she's, you know, her quote here is, "I'm a single girl. He never said you're my girl, Vinny." Like she's trying to like make this okay.
Yeah.
Even though she knows it's not, and she did it on purpose. She knew that it wasn't okay. Otherwise, she wouldn't have done it.
Totally. It's definitely a problem of communication, which for people who talk so much have very poor communication skills between both of them, which is like, I feel like the biggest problem that they have is they talk about the wrong things.
Yeah.
Like this situation could have been easily resolved if someone had just spoken up and said what actually happened, but heat of the moment, drinks are involved. They're 22.
Yeah, it's like another reminder of just how young these guys are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're exactly handling this situation how you would expect post-college kids to be handling it.
Totally.
Especially when there's, you know, alcohol involved or other substances.
Are you on any substances right now?
Substances.
Is that okay?
I couldn't get the word out.
You got it there in the end. We know what you're talking about.
So Sam ends up leaving. She gets home, and her first question to Ron and Jen as she's walking into the bedroom is, "Did you guys hook up?"
Yeah.
And Jenny is like super confused at this question, just like, "What? Mm-hmm. She just goes, "What?" She asked the question again, "Did you guys hook up?" Jenny's like, "No, like, you're an idiot. Just, you need to handle this business with your boyfriend, whatever he is." I don't know.
Yeah.
Ron is laying in bed in a towel, inexplicably.
For some reason.
Possibly he had to take a cold shower to cool off or something. Don't know.
The last episode ends with him in shorts and picks up in this episode with him in a towel. So something happened in between those episodes where he changes for some reason.
Well, he almost loses said towel chasing Sam up the stairs. Did you notice that? Like, he's like holding it closed barely with one hand as he's going up the stairs, and I swear we almost get so many crotch shots.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, the blurred out moments come later on.
I wasn't looking that hard.
When Snooks lets loose at the club and she's backflipping.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. We end their fight. We kind of leave them.
Yeah,
and then we go.
As they're fighting, by the way, an observation here. Sam is pulling strands of her hair out of her head. Did you notice that?
I did. I have actually got somewhere in here where Sammy's always tugging on that hair on this side of her head.
Always pulling on her hair, always combing her fingers through it, which, I mean, I think it's like a nervous
I think so.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're in the middle of an argument, so I guess I get why she is doing this little bit of a tick right now, but she's actually pulling strands out of her head, and I want to say that it's probably extensions. We're back to that again.
Okay, yeah.
She's like pulling these clips of long hair out of her head.
Jeez, I didn't know.
Funny.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
It's just a funny thing to be doing in the middle of a fight, I guess.
It's one of those ticks, I guess.
Why it stood out to me.
Because she does that a lot of that. Like I said, I've got a note in here somewhere where I point that out later on in the episode.
Well, they both end up in tears by the end of this whole argument, and I guess all is forgiven.
They let it lie. They let it lie, and it's a hard transition from their fight to back at Karma.
Yes.
With Mike out there creeping.
Yeah, so meanwhile, Mike and Polly are bringing home some randoms, and they're trying to convince them to go hot tubbing. Yeah. And of course, these girls are not prepared to go hot tubbing. They don't have swimsuits or anything like that. The guys are insisting they get in their underwear because it's pretty much like swimsuits anyways.
I mean, yeah, but no.
Yeah, but no.
Polly makes a little quote earlier before they get back to the house where he says, they're kind of stupid, but whatever.
We make the best out of the situation like we always do.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
If a girl says no, she means no, people.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And
different time.
Yeah.
Different culture.
Yeah. Because they really are. This is like a hard sell. It's
they are really pushing these girls to do stuff that they don't want to do.
It's super cringy to watch now. And I've got a note in here that says, girls, just let them go. Like, all right. Because we circle back to, I think they're doing the jacuzzi thing. We have this real awkward shot of Mike in the middle of a kiss, kind of like turning over. He's got
I know what you're talking about. They're all
face.
Yeah, they're all making out in the hot tub.
Yeah.
Mike looks at Polly. Gross. Yeah. I put that all in caps and many exclamation points.
Yeah. It's
ew. Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
Reassurance?
I don't know, man. I have no idea. It's
encouragement.
It's a weird shot for them to have included, but it kind of makes sense because it's Mike. Kind of makes sense because it's Mike. So they get him out of the hot tub.
They're upstairs.
Back into the rooms.
They're in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Polly's girl says, I need to go home. Mm-hmm. My mom is going to freak out.
Yeah. Mike's like, oh, calm down, Freckles McGee.
Chill out, Freckles McGee. I wrote the exact quote.
Yeah, they got all kinds of funny little names for everyone.
My question is, why do so many of these people still live at home?
They're 20s, early 20s.
They've got to be post-college, these people.
I think that's an Italian thing, or at least that part of the country kind of a thing. Maybe.
To just live at home?
I guess because everyone in the cast, except for JWoww, I think, lives with their parents, including Pauly D, I think. But you're not wrong. Literally everyone that they come into contact with does still live with their parents. And I think that's just, I don't know if these people went to college or not, or if it's like off seasons from college. It is the summer, so maybe they're just back.
True.
But are you still in college when you're 21, 22?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, you get the 5-year people who end up staying for a little longer. Mm-hmm. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I was one myself for about a half a year.
I took a year off, so technically I was a 5-year turnover.
So, I guess that makes sense, if we're to assume that this is summer, and if someone is back from college, they would be living at home temporarily.
This really makes me feel like an old man.
Yeah.
Talking about these problems, maybe I am an old man because I shushed someone at a movie theater the other day. And you were there. We were all shushing these kids who would not shut up in Spider-Man.
They were being extremely rude.
Were they, or are we old?
Who talks in the middle of a movie?
I don't know.
Who goes to a movie to actively talk?
I don't know. They were talking loud too, to be fair.
Yeah.
And we'd had enough. And we gave them an almighty shh.
We gave them a lot of leash to be able to get what you needed to get out. Say it now. We're in the middle of this movie, but go ahead, say it now.
Yeah, public service announcement. Don't talk in a movie. We're here to not talk.
Literally
and to watch a movie.
To not talk and watch a movie.
Anyway. That's an old person rant again, I feel like. These young whippersnappers. Get off my lawn. Man, we're getting old. We were just talking about how sore and immobile I am these days.
I was you gotta go to the chiropractor. You gotta get a massage. You gotta stretch your muscles out.
So that being said, we're looking at this through the lens of 30-plus-year-olds here,
freaking
looking back.
Old people. Let's just be honest.
At 22-year-olds living their life out. So,
and let's just say, I'm annoyed at myself when I was 22. Looking back on some of the stuff I did back then, I hate myself then.
Yeah.
So.
I would definitely probably not have liked myself. And honestly, my nickname in college was Angry Steve. That's what everyone called me.
That's what we call you now.
Because I'm angry all the time.
Moving right along.
Moving along.
Okay, we're at the next day, finally. Things are like this was the longest day ever that we just covered.
things are starting to make sense. Everything makes sense in the morning.
Sam and Ron are waking up together. It seems all is well again with them-ish.
But then Sammy does this thing that she does repeatedly in setting the tone negatively right from the start, because they wake up, they kind of make up a little bit, and then literally the next scene is a voiceover of Sammy saying that she's just doesn't know what's happening. She's like scared that Ron's gonna cheat again, and just gets herself in this negative mindset right out the gate.
And what she's doing is she's obsessing over the Jenny with Ron scenario that is playing out in her head for some reason. All of a sudden, Jenny is like this competition in her mind. Has Ron ever expressed any interest in Jenny that way?
Never.
I don't think so. At least not that we've been shown.
Not that we can see.
And again, this could be like a production thing where maybe producers are putting things in her ear. I don't know. Who's to say?
I think Sammy got done dirty.
Yeah, probably.
I think someone hurt Sammy in the past, and these are just...
I think that eventually does come out, too. But it's just like, if they were more mature in their communication skills, they would be able to talk all of this through in that moment instead of her letting her mind run rampant.
Right. It's not really a problem in real life, but it is a problem because she's making it a problem.
I also have a note here that says pretty much everyone looks rough upon this morning where everyone's waking up. Jen looks rough. Michael looks rough. It's just rough all around.
It was a good night. That's how you know it was a good night.
Jenny goes to call her boyfriend, Tom. To be honest, I'm surprised he even answers at this point, because where we left them in the last episode was him hanging up on her pretty much. Whenever she finally admitted what had been happening with Polly. So I don't know if they ever made amends or something like that.
I don't know. I feel like it's just one of those things where they don't know any other way, so they're just going to keep on going down that cycle that they're in.
Well, she apologizes again. He says, well, I'm not coming up there ever again, because they'll just going to be a fist fight if I end up going back there. And I'm like, wouldn't you want to go? Make sure to visit often so that all the other guys in the house know that you're there, like you're a very present person. See, and you're not going anywhere.
I didn't pay attention to the conversation that they had as much as I was paying attention to Pauly D, who's listening in on that conversation.
Yes, exactly. I do have a secondary note here that says, all the while Polly's sitting nearby listening to their convo, and by the end of it is asleep.
Which I think is like one of those, like, I don't know if I can handle these emotions right now, so I'm just going to take a nap. Because I think Polly really does like JWoww. Or has something for JWoww.
Emotions. It's too much.
And I mean, it was a long night, so to be fair,
all of them are so dead.
If you're gonna pass out, you're gonna pass out.
Yeah. Cut to Sam and Ron are at work together, and she's acting so weird.
Yeah, she's pulling back, like really reserved.
She like can barely be in the same. Like she can't even look at him.
Yeah, because she's just so in her head about what has happened between them.
What has happened between them, and what she thinks happened between him and Jen.
Right.
So she claims to be in a funk and that she's not mad at Ron. Ron believes it to be, quote, a girl thing.
Okay, so for me hearing that, I don't think of it as like that time of the month kind of a thing. I thought it was like a girl emotion thing is what I thought he was referring to. Like, is that something that girls do? Which I actually kind of wanted. I wrote a note here that says, sis, why is Sammy pulling back? What are those emotions? I knew
you were going to put this on me to try and explain.
I don't know.
Freaking know. I mean, I think it's just an insecurity thing. It goes back to being a maturity thing. She's a super insecure girl.
That's fair, because sometimes whenever I'm out of... sometimes when things haven't gone the way that I think they should kind of go, I can kind of get the same way.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I hate that he refers to it as a girl thing. It's a person thing. Yeah, like, come on.
Totally.
Let's not be that way.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. She has a little quote in there where she says, I'm not good at relationships. Yeah. She says that at one point.
That's an interesting observation or self-observation of what's going on with her.
How does she know? She's only 20. What is a relationship when you're 20?
She's only like 23 in this. I mean, that's still very young.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the rest of the shift, it's super awkward, but they seem to leave happy because they run home to jump in bed, and smush is where we hear this come up for the first time, which I think is such a gross word.
Ronnie's fedora makes another appearance.
Yes. I'm actually very surprised at how often this little fedora is coming out to play.
It is back, baby. It is back throughout the duration of this episode.
I just never noticed like how often he wore it.
Me too. I thought it was a one-time thing.
I did too.
But it's not.
Here she is again.
It's a part of his head.
She's come to party.
Oh yeah. Back, baby. Fedoras are back, baby. Okay.
So we're on the next day. The boys are heading to run errands because you got to stay fresh to death.
Fresh to death.
FTD.
Mm-hmm. The first time we see GTL, we've heard about them going to the gym and stuff like that. But this time we see them in the gym. We see them in the barbershop. We see them getting tanned.
Yeah, fresh to death includes you got to have the outfit, you got to have the haircut, you got to have the tan.
Fresh paint job.
You got to go to the gym.
Got to go.
Mike does this karate kick on the bag at the gym, and I'm just like, dear Lord.
Yeah, I got a note here that says Mike Karate Kid.
Do we have to be exposed to this person?
To be fair, if I see a punching bag, I'm gonna kick it.
You're gonna like kung fu
I'm gonna punch
panda
it. I'm gonna kick it. It's what it's there for.
You're gonna do what he did, which is like up in the air.
Yeah.
Both legs off the air.
I might. I think that's a guy thing. You see something that's
it must be
asking to be punched. I'm gonna punch it for sure. We're in the barbershop.
Yeah, they head to the barbershop. It's called Jagged Edge.
Oh, nice.
Mike is running his mouth again and claiming to have gotten with every girl in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't.
Right. That is barbershop talk, sis. Okay.
You're gonna have to, because I don't understand.
Yeah, that's barbershop talk. That's locker boy talk. That is what happens in a barbershop. You're there to bust up on your buddies. You're there to brag about stuff that did not happen.
So you're there to lie.
Yeah. You're there at the barbershop to make yourself feel good. You're going there, you're getting freshed up, you're going to make yourself feel good. And all that kind of stuff that goes with a haircut is all those other things that make you feel good.
You realize that if a woman was saying all of this, she would be called vapid and stupid.
That's why women don't go to barbershops. Y'all have salons. That's a guy. That's a guy thing.
That's a guy thing.
I knew that you were going to say something about that. That is totally normal.
I'm trying to think of any time I've ever been to the salon and done that.
What girls must have a locker talk. Where do y'all talk about stuff?
Do I brag about myself about things that didn't happen?
Well, it's different.
No, I do not.
That's different, but you must have, the ladies must have a place, like the nail salon. What do y'all talk about when you go to the nail salon?
Oh, you must mean knitting circle. That's where we do that.
Knitting circle? You're kidding.
Stevie believes that I go to knitting circle, so I'm a little concerned at this point.
Book club? I don't know what you ladies do.
We're going to circle back around to this offline.
Okay. Sorry.
There is no knitting circle.
Oops. I'm going to pay for that one. Okay, so,
the barber asks if Ron has gotten any yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Ron respectfully says, I don't kiss and tell.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was nice.
He will later.
Okay. In this moment, I thought was nice of him.
Okay, that's fair.
And finally, Vinny has enough of the pissing contest, and he decides to wait outside.
Mm-hmm. Which, Vinny is not like those other guys. Again,
not yet, anyways.
Just another example of Vinny is kind of his own man in this. Until I think, but I think that's just a timing thing. Like, you be around enough people for long enough, you're gonna pick up some of their little habits, little traits.
I don't know if you clocked this, but there's some transitional footage that happens right here at this point in the show, and the footage is accompanied by some little guy who is beatboxing to save his life. Super funny, and it completely derailed my focus on what was happening on the show because I was just like, man, this little guy, like, he's really going at it with the beatbox.
Yeah, I did not see that at all.
Music to this transitional footage. It's super funny. Dude, it's so much beat that I could almost feel the spray
Nice.
on my face.
That's
but
what-
we'll see if we can find some of that. And
That's what you
splice it
want.
in.
That's what you want from a beatboxer. So we pick up after the barbershop,
Yeah.
and Snooks is calling her mom.
Yeah, we're back at the house. Snooks is on the phone with her mom.
Happy birthday, Snookie's mom. It is her birthday, apparently.
And again, like, you just forget how young she is because she looks so much older. But their relationship reminds me a lot of Mom and Abby. I don't know if you
That's
picked up on that.
That's good. Yeah.
They're just like girlfriends, just like,
Totally.
oh, shut up, you know?
Totally. Yeah. I made a note here that said they have a close. It seems like they have a really close relationship,
Yeah,
but
it reminded me in that moment of Mom and Abby.
that makes sense.
Shout out to Abby Highbrow, by the way. She just did my eyebrows. I got a little bit of microblading done yesterday.
Nice.
Shout out Abby Highbrow if you want any semi-permanent makeup. Lash extensions, not lash extensions, lash lifts, microblading. Abby does it all. She's based in Plano for all you locals. So
This episode brought to you by Highbrow. Get your brows done. Okay, let's see. We pick up. That's a really short little moment. We pick up with Snookie and her mom a little bit later on, but we're going back to Karma that night. So Snookie calls her mom. The gang's getting ready to go out again, and boom, we're back at Karma, and Snookie lets loose.
well, they must have. First of all, they must have gotten there early, or it was slow, or something, because it looked dead empty when they first walked in.
I bet you it was a Tuesday.
It's something. But cut to all the roommates partying. Jen and Polly are back at it again. Snookie's doing the backflips, which I want to say that maybe she...
Cheerleader.
Oh, is it a cheerleader or a gymnast?
I think she was a cheerleader.
Something, because she's like really good.
I bet you she
at
was
tumbling.
I bet you she was a flyer.
Well, also she's small too.
That's exactly why I say a flyer.
She has no shoes on at this point, and her underwear is out.
This is where the blurriness comes in.
Yes.
Pretty much this whole scene of Snooki's is just completely blurred out.
Snook says, I love being the center of attention. Once I get the spotlight, it's going to be on me all night. And that's literally like my worst nightmare. I want to crawl into a hole thinking about that ever coming out of my mouth as a genuine sentiment of wanting to be the center of attention.
Definitely not my cup of tea.
That is so amazing to me, but also like terrifies me.
But that is Snooki's personality.
It's totally her personality.
Which is why she has such a tough time at the very beginning, because she's not the center of attention.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that is wild. I don't understand that personality trait either, but to each their own.
The boys at this point demonstrate beating up the beat.
Beating it up.
And Polly's strategy at the club is to line them up and move on. At the end of the night, see who you end up with.
Yeah, this is one of those scenes where they're dancing, whatever. There's these two girls Mike and Situation have. They're walking home. They see these other girls in a Mercedes convertible or something like that, immediately dump the two girls that they had for these new girls.
Yeah.
And bring them back to the house, only to a couple of minutes later dump the new girls and re-pick up the old girls again.
One of the old girls, by the way, her name is Barb. I don't know if you caught that.
No, I didn't.
She had so many bruises on her arm, by the way. I don't know what this girl has been up to.
Really? No, I didn't see that.
I caught a little piece of footage where you can just see all these bruises on her upper arm.
Really? I did not see that.
Little weird.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak to...
Maybe a little bit of an iron deficiency. I don't know. I don't know what she's got
Let's hope
going on.
to God it's an iron deficiency and not anything more sinister.
Anyway, Barb. I thought that was interesting.
Okay, Barb, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean...
Okay, so we start with the guys and their girls, and then we cut back to Snookie, who has also found herself a man, and his name is Ron.
Yes.
It's not Ron.
It's not Ron.
His name is Russ.
His name is Russ.
And she continually calls him Ron for the duration of the time that they know each other.
Yes. He's nice to her for like a second and she's already in love. Kind of a deal. Poor Snooks.
Snooks is just trying to find what everyone else has already found.
She's snooking for love.
She's snooking for love, yeah.
So back at the house, Mike and Polly are working on the convertible girls who are definitely not down for hot tubbing. And the guys are quickly regretting that last minute change. Mike's version of flirting, by the way, is full asshole. I don't know if you know kind of like what the theory is behind being full asshole versus soft asshole.
It's an alpha thing.
There exists a world in which a guy being an asshole is endearing to some women or men. But the trick there is to be a soft asshole. And that's what I say when I talk about this theory. Wherein a guy says things to make you doubt yourself, but in a sexy kind of way. Huh. Are you following it all?
I guess.
With any of this? So the idea being that a girl can't resist a guy who makes them feel bad at first. And what Mike has done here is gone full hard asshole. And here's a quote. He says, "You're kind of cute, but I don't want to give you too much credit."
Yeah.
And she likes it. Mm-hmm. That works on her.
I don't know why. Yeah, I've seen enough of it, and I was kind of an asshole myself when I was younger. I think maybe I still am. I don't know. It's like an alpha. It's like trying to be the top of the line.
Yeah.
It's a very human thing. Do you know what I mean? Like top of the food chain. Nothing's going to get past me. If I don't tell you that I want you, you will want me even more. Like I can have my pick of the litter kind of a thing.
Mike is a full hard asshole to me, and I feel like maybe more so what he should have gone was soft asshole.
But Mike's got two speeds, and it's sleeping and full asshole.
Yeah, that's the theory on that.
The old girls that they dumped, they just randomly walk right into the house?
Yes, the two previous girls, aka Barb and friend, they somehow find the house. Somehow. Again, I don't know how much production had to do with this. And let themselves in, which I also thought was interesting. I don't know if they knocked or anything. They just let themselves in.
To us, it looks like they just walked right into the house.
And also, like, an interesting side note, I don't know where I read this at some point, another just little trivia kind of behind the scenes thing. Anytime they would have guests at the house, anyone who was not a roommate, part of the cast, the guests would have to go through this really long screening process to even be allowed to come in the house. They would take your ID. They would like run some kind of a background check on you. You would have to fill out all kinds of forms and stuff like that. Like, we're not liable for whatever happens if you're going into this house. Mm-hmm. Kind of like an arduous process for them to have guests over, and especially people they didn't know going in, which they don't know these girls.
Are you suggesting that they're plants?
Not necessarily.
Or is the show too early on in its inception before all that stuff came? Because at this point in the show's history, these girls don't know who these people are, other than the fact that there's cameras rolling.
Exactly. And I mean, I think that's probably why they wanted to maybe push that along a little bit.
Yeah,
because it does add an interesting little plot.
It really does, yeah.
So yeah, just a interesting little side note.
We get we get the first name drop of the grenade.
Explain what a grenade is.
So sometimes when you're going to battle, sometimes when you're going to battle and you don't have enough backup, sometimes a grenade's going to get thrown, and you just hope to God that you got a boy there to jump on that grenade and take the hit so that you don't. This is what Mike is referring to in this instance. Mike and the girl that he's with are making progress,
I guess.
And the girl that's with Polly is not having it.
Not having it at all.
So what Mike is suggesting is that Polly needs to take care of this other girl, entertain her, get her away so that situation can have a situation with his girl. He's got to jump on the grenade because the girl's being a buzzkill.
Yeah, so we have a situation here where they have two different sets of girls. Convertible girls are outside on the patio chatting, and then Barb and friend have now just let themselves into the house. So they have a situation on their hands where they have two different sets of girls. One set is probably a little more down to have more fun than the other set. So they have to figure out how to get one set out and one set in.
So what they do is they walk the set they don't want right past the set that they do want, right on out the door. Which
it's bold. I think they just said, oh, that's just our roommates or something.
They said something.
They're complaining. They don't want y'all here. Y'all are going to have to go.
Now, this ends up being a mistake. for everyone.
Us included.
But since we're talking about the boys, this ends up being a mistake for the boys because, well, one of the girls is kind of having it. This other girl, the blonde.
Barb.
Is that Barb?
Blonde Barb.
So Barb is being a real buzzkill. She's talking about she wants to do the dishes because they're disgusting her in the house.
Every little thing she's nitpicking about, she's complaining. She's being a total buzzkill.
Yeah, which we use that term for lack of a better term. I wouldn't say knock this girl's personality or anything, but she really is a downer on this whole thing. And Polly, you can just see Polly's frustration just building and building as the night goes on. And he even says it a couple of times. He's like, I know that I'm supposed to have Mike's back, but I sometimes you just got to dip. You got to know what you want. You got to set your boundaries. And once you hit that limit, it's time to bail.
He says, my girl was busted. Polly quickly loses patience for this situation. He is leaning against the fridge, like propping himself up, like in this battle of like having to put up with this girl as she's complaining, and he just ends up ghosting all of them and heads to bed.
He made it pretty much all the way up the stairs before he was like, you know what, it's just not worth it, and he backs right on back
180,
down.
like around and sped up to bed.
Goes to sleep.
They didn't even realize he was gone.
No.
Until he was gone.
Right.
So Mike is taking
heavy fire
by himself. He gets his girl alone, finally, and they head upstairs, but Barbsy tracks them down and puts a hard stop to all of that.
Yeah.
Polly did not know the code to decipher the Barb bomb.
The bomb, yeah. He didn't know the code to disarm the bomb, and it blows up.
Yeah.
And ruins the night for everyone. I did a little air quote there.
This is not a visual medium, Steve.
Yeah, I know. But I'm going to be using my hands. I'm a hand talker.
Okay, that doesn't bode well for this podcast.
I use my hands a lot. I'm doing Elvis fingers right now.
Meanwhile, Snooks and her guy, Russ Ron, spend a, quote, romantic night on the beach.
The dirtiest beach you could ever go to.
Oh, it just doesn't look that great. But where did they get a blanket?
Don't know where they got the blanket.
Or what looked like a bed sheet.
I bet you they just found it.
Where did they get that?
I bet you it was just there.
Did they go back to the house and then... I don't know.
It's one of two things. They found it there in the garbage, or the producers gave it to them.
They probably didn't find it in the garbage, dude.
It's Jersey Shore. You never know what's getting left on the shore.
Well, they bid each other a farewell, and she ends up crawling into bed with dirty slippers. The bottoms of these things are black.
Really?
Yeah, crawls into straight bed with them.
I didn't see that. I think my brain might have cut that off.
Good.
Because that's generally something that I'll notice, but don't do that. Don't do that, and don't sleep in jeans.
That. Yeah. Well,
I've got a friend.
Oh God.
It's my buddy's wife. I'll cut that little bit out. No, there's some like my really good friends. She sleeps in jeans.
Interesting.
I always tell her that it's the strangest thing in the world. So
listen, I'm not here to judge anyone's preferences, except for Jersey Shore.
You do you, girl, but just not in jeans, girl. Come on.
Okay. Calm down.
I'll probably cut that part out. Whatever. Okay. So we're going. Bring anyone else into this unsolicited. Oh, maybe I'll call them and say, hey, I mentioned you in the podcast and your crazy thing about sleeping in jeans. Is it okay that all those 14 people hear about this? Okay, so anyway, yeah, we wake up on the beach with Ron, Russ, and Snooks.
Yeah, so we're on the next day. Jenny is on the phone again with boyfriend Tom, and he claims that a friend... Whoa.
Sorry, we're dropping stuff over here.
Okay, we're going to take that one again.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so we're on the next day, and Jenny's on the phone with boyfriend Tom again, and he claims that a friend told him that she was dancing with Polly all night. Accurate, by the way.
They were dancing with everyone.
They were dancing with everyone, but mostly each other.
Okay, fair.
She realizes she's caught and says, wait, what? If you have to ask, wait, what? You know what's up.
You're buying yourself some time to think of the next lie.
As it turns out, apparently, Russ Ron, Snookie's guy, was an inside guy and ratted on Jenny to Tom.
Wild.
And
the deception.
She denies, which seems to be a motto in this house.
I mean, innocent until proven guilty.
Jenny claims to have been battling to house music.
That's right.
And puts Snooks on the phone to reassure boyfriend Tom that nothing happened. So,
that's right.
Crisis averted.
Crisis averted. Snooks comes in, saves the day, tells the truth.
She says it was nothing. We were just all having fun with each other. It's not a big deal. Don't take it out of context. Don't make it a thing.
Yeah, de-escalates the whole situation, and as far as we can tell, squashes that whole thing kind of right there.
Crisis averted.
Right.
So at this point, a little bit later, Snook's mom comes to visit for her birthday.
Right.
Which is super cute. They're having a little girls' day.
They go on the little fairy thing.
First impression is they look nothing alike, by the way, but I remembered that at some point, Snookie comes out with it much later, that she's actually adopted.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that, or I had completely forgot about that.
I don't know what the whole backstory is on that, but I do know that she is, in fact, adopted.
See, I didn't even consider that because of how close they are.
I know.
Which, at the end of the day, they are mother and daughter, and adoption is a wonderful, beautiful kind of thing. And that's one of those things where when you have a kid, at least I don't have children, but my outside observations is, you have a kid and that is your child that you made, right? But adoption is really cool in that you get to choose and say yes to that. So that's really, really cool, and probably speaks a lot to
her parents, as parents,
and just how Snookie kind of is.
Yeah.
Very warm, very welcoming,
inviting.
Let's bring you into the fold. She
very genuine,
was friends with everyone else before they were friends with her.
Yeah.
And that's probably a trait that carries on through that.
It's definitely a personality trait, and I noticed that again in the upcoming episode, which we'll get more into then.
I think this is the first time that we see Snookie in a talking head shot with her hair down.
Oh, okay.
Cute.
Yeah.
Snookie's really cute. Yeah. When her hair is down like that. I'm not saying that she's not cute.
Of the poof.
When the poof, but it was
the
just,
alien head.
It was a different look at Snookie. And I was like, oh, look at Snookie go.
Yeah.
But I've got a soft spot in my heart for Snookie.
I know.
Snookie's
Me
kind
too.
Snookie's kind of the best.
Yeah, she really is. Anyways, they spend the day together. They go to the beach, and her mom immediately comments on how dirty the water is.
Yeah.
Just as we suspected.
Yeah.
Neither one of us have been to Jersey Shore, so we really are speaking completely out of turn here.
Leave it to the old people to call out that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that actually ends up being a thing where parents are calling out stuff in the next episode.
Yes, which we'll get to.
Which is really funny, yeah.
They ride the little sky tram thingy.
Yeah.
And I just have to comment, there's no way that thing is up to code. Did you see how big the gaps are in between the rails where they're sitting and the guardrail to keep you from falling out, basically? The gaps are huge. There's no way that thing is up to code.
Didn't see any of that stuff. The only thing that I saw was I want to ride on that.
No way,
yeah, dude.
You would fall out.
Not me.
Okay.
Anyway. Snookie's mom comes. It is a fairly short bit of the episode, but an interesting insight into that kind of relationship. And again, just gives you a little bit more of who Snookie is down deep behind the scenes kind of a thing.
And how her relationship is with her parents. So it's really sweet. They're saying goodbye. Snooks ends up crying. It's just a really sweet moment. She's crying in her little confessional, her talking head. And you just really feel how homesick she is.
Yeah,
in
totally.
These moments. It's just really sad. You just feel for her.
And she keeps making the comment, this is helping me grow up. I've never been from home. This is a good experience. Which is really forward thinking on Snookie's part to acknowledge that, because she's not wrong.
Yeah.
Probably not the best place to grow up, but lessons will be learned either way. Yeah. And the fact that she's kind of keying in on that right from the beginning is really, really interesting, because
I'm not sure that she realizes that it's a self-awareness type, a self-discovery type thing as she's saying it. I think it's one of those things where I have to say this to make it through. This is what I'm telling myself to be able to sleep at night.
Okay, yeah, I could totally see that.
It definitely is what you're saying as well.
I think she's the only one, as far as I can remember, who that is a thing that constantly comes up for her. This is a growing experience for her.
At least in this first season.
Yeah, because I think Snookie's a lot smarter than she leads on to be. She's at least, if anything, maybe the most emotionally mature one out of the bunch. Am I speaking out of turn there?
Well, let's think about this with Vinny, because Vinny ends up being quite a wise old owl type of character throughout the rest of the series. Like, the roommates will go to him a lot.
That's
to
true.
Talk things through, and he actually does give really sound advice.
Good point.
Even for being
we're trying to record a podcast, Car.
even for being one of the youngest in the house.
That's true. Yeah, because he's 21, 22.
Which is fascinating because so is Snookie. Snookie's also the youngest in the house.
How
is it the younger ones that are...
Maybe they just haven't been through enough shit yet. So they're very optimistic about stuff, whereas everyone else has kind of been through it a little bit and is maybe a little more cynical.
Jaded.
Than...
Or maybe they're just more stupid.
Who knows? I don't know. But we do get to see that kind of play out as the seasons go on, especially Vinny's kind of arc and kind of where he kind of ends up, which is, I think he's got one of the more kind of interesting, I don't know what season it is, but things kind of take a turn a little bit for Vinny at some point, and we get to see him handle that kind of situation. So, but yeah, you're not wrong. Vinny is kind of the wise old owl of the bunch.
Fast forwarding to that night, the roommates are going out for a casual night out at the bar. They're not even getting dressed up or anything. It's literally just they're walking around the corner just to hang out. They have some coworkers who end up meeting up with them, which again, here comes the coworkers, the staff at the Shore Store. We get to see a whole lot of them in this season. Julio.
Which seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
Julio seems like a cool, good guy.
Yeah.
Not pushy whenever Snookie and them are talking about, sex and stuff like that. And they just is we'll just have a hardcore makeout session. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't pressure her into doing something like that. Julio seems like a good guy. We actually see him pop up a few more times in this episode, and then for the rest of this episode, and then the next episode he shows up again. Seems like a cool guy. I like Julio.
So at this point, Snooks is finally feeling like she's part of the family now. She's feeling a little more welcomed into the group. There are some losers lurking around the bar at this point.
The frat boys.
The frat boys, question mark? They look like middle-aged men.
I think they've just lived a hard life. I bet you they're 24-ish.
Yeah.
And they've just kind of done, man, the instigator guy, guy wearing the polo.
Yeah, the one
who punches Snookie, we'll just throw it out there now. He's faded. I mean, he is so drunk. His face is gone.
He's definitely on other
movements
substances.
His movements are all slow as he's trying to key in on what's going on.
He's definitely on something else.
The big thing is everyone starts getting mad at the frat boys.
Yeah, so we'll just call them frat boys. We'll call them that. I don't think that's what they actually are. They're being called that because if you aren't going to watch the episode, just so you have the context, they're being called that because they're wearing polo shirts with those shorts that I feel like a lot of guys wore back in that year.
Think of a frat boy.
In 2009.
Don't change that thought at all. That's what those guys look like.
So imagine what a stereotypical frat guy would look like with a polo, the little shorts, not little, they're actually quite long shorts with the plaid pattern.
Now you just said something. You said stereotypical?
Yes.
And I say stereotypical.
Stereotypical? That's what I said.
You said stereotypical, and I've got it recorded here, and I will play that back.
Is it like a tomato thing?
No one says tomato.
I do.
No, you don't.
Would you like some tomato on your sandwich?
We doing British accents now? Where's my sister? British person? Because that was a good act. That was pretty good.
Sister, not here.
Oh my goodness. That's from Master of Disguise, isn't it?
Ding, ding, ding. Tell him what he's want.
Grandfather not here. That's Master of Disguise is a good movie. Maybe we'll talk about that another time.
Comment in and tell us how you say stereotypical. Is it stereotypical, or is it stereotypical, Stereotypical.
Yeah, weigh in on that.
I feel like it's an either or. You got what the point was, and now we're completely derailed.
That's
so thank you very much. So we're going to refer to them as frat boys from here on out. I don't think that's what they actually are.
Right. So they are taking shots.
They're at the bar with the roommates,
and they keep
stealing.
Right.
the drinks that the roommates are ordering.
Right.
So, the bartender will set the drinks down and these frat guys will just take them.
Right.
And this is, of course, stirring up some
emotion.
anger
Yeah.
with the roommates, because stop stealing our drinks. Like, can you really not pay for your own drinks?
Now, everyone kind of gives Mike shit a little bit, and they blame him a lot for the situation, especially in the next episode. I thought Mike was actually handling that situation like you probably should handle that situation. And he's trying to de-escalate by saying, that's fine, guys. Like, take the drinks. We'll get some more. Just take them, and nothing needs to kind of happen.
I guess what's confusing is that it doesn't seem like Mike is doing enough in this moment to stop this from happening. Every time they take a drink, Mike is just okay with it and orders another round, to which then they steal again. So it's just like, I get doing that to a certain point, but then at some point you have to say no, or stop, or tell the bartender, or something.
See, I've actually been in that exact situation before.
Okay.
And the only reason that it didn't break out in a fight was because it was just like, okay, well, I'm just going to grab these guys some drinks and just put it on my tab and it'll be fine. We don't need to like go into anything else. He said, she said, these guys are really, really, really drunk. I'm not in the most sober state ever, so just like quash it. Otherwise, it's really going to start ending in a fight, which it does in this situation regardless.
Well, what's happening at this point is it's frat guy. Mike is standing behind said frat guy. Julio, staff member from Shore Store, is standing right next to frat guy at the bar. Snookie is standing right next to Julio on the other side of frat guy.
On a stool or something.
On a stool. I believe she's kneeling on a stool because she's like unusually high.
Yeah, she's
at
towering
this point,
over
she is
everyone.
towering over. And so she sees what's happening at the bar with these drinks, and these guys keep stealing their drinks. So she's yelling at them. And eventually, the one frat guy gets so pissed. To be honest, like, I don't even know if he realized what he was doing. He looks so far gone. Not that that's any excuse at all. But ends up just smack dab hitting her right square in the middle of the face, which is just shocking.
Yeah.
Never seen that before.
That's not cool.
Never seen that before. They don't actually show the hit. I don't think they actually black out in this moment. Production chose to black out on the actual like scene of her getting hit, which like that I think that
give
was
her a little bit
choice.
of dignity. Yeah,
that was a good choice.
That's fine.
Yeah. It cuts to, though, Snook's on the floor crying. She's holding her face as this guy is like running out of the bar, which I guess he thought he could get away, even though there were so many witnesses to what just happened.
Yeah, cops are already there taking him out.
He's being chased by every single man in this place at this point, like, which is, he should be, you know?
But the only thing that I really noticed in that was Ron has that hat on again.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be intimidating when you're wearing a fedora, no matter how swole you are.
Agreed.
Ron's out there like really kind of like getting out there like saying stuff, but it's just like is that a fedora?
Yeah. So eventually this guy makes it out of the bar and like he like walks into the cops awaiting handcuffs, essentially. And pretty much like the episode ends with all of the male roommates taunting this guy, like this suspect. This is not a suspect, he's a perp at this point.
Yeah, he's a perp at this point.
They're taunting him as he's getting arrested, and Jen is like on the floor helping Snooks as she's just like holding her face. It's just this heartbreaking cry that she's letting out. And that's pretty much how the episode ends, in chaos.
Right.
Until we figure out like what the heck just happened.
Hard stop on the episode. And that, leaves everyone just wanting a little bit more to figure out how this whole thing gets resolved. The boys are heated.
Yeah.
Snooks is on the floor. The girls are attending to her. Ron has his hat on. And the episode ends.
Boom.
Yeah, right there.
And that's your episode 4.
Pretty good episode.
What were your final thoughts on the thing as a whole?
A lot happens in this episode.
Yeah.
A lot more that's happened in the previous episodes. Again, I think everyone's starting to be a lot more comfortable with each other. All the kind of tensions are building between this and that, and stuff is starting to happen, and we're really starting to like flow into the summer that the cast is going to have for the rest of the summer.
Yeah, because at this point, I don't think we're quite at the halfway mark of this season. We're getting there, though. We're like an episode or two away from the halfway point.
But it's the first episode that kind of sets everyone together.
Yes.
It's the first kind of almost real Jersey Shore episode.
Yeah, we get there's a lot of blows in this one.
It's a good one.
A lot of yelling.
It's a good one.
This one. It is a good one. It does only continue to get wilder as we go.
And yeah, keep in mind we're at I think even Mike in this episode says that they're like 3 days in or a week in to this whole thing. Yeah. So
they still have only known each other for about
days.
About a week's time, if that.
Yeah, about it's a handful of days, so we're getting into the real thick of it.
So keep that in mind. It really is mind blowing to think that it has only been that long, that short rather, since all of these people have met, and this is where we're at now.
Good episode. What do you think about this one?
Really good episode. I liked it. Yeah. Let's keep going.
Let's keep on going. That's going to do it for episode 4.
Steve, where can they find you on the Instas?
I'm going to be on Instagram as Steven Lizarraga. That's STEPHENLIZARRAGA.
Longest last name.
It was the one that was bestowed upon us. I didn't have a choice in it.
Y'all can find me at Christy.A.Bryan. Christy with a Y, Brian with a Y. We'll keep it simple.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's going to do it. Everyone, thanks again for tuning in to this episode. We are going to
hang out here and chat for a little bit.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Y'all go do what you do and have a good day.
Get out of there. Go clean your house. Go enjoy the day.
Enjoy each other.
Get some fist bumps if you need to get powered up for the rest of the week. And we will catch you on next week's episode of Macaroni Rascals, a Jersey Shore podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
We out.